start. This is the closest to the historically accurate chair that Betsy would have been sitting in, but I feel like if I sit in it, you won't be able to see me very well. So I am going to pull out a taller chair, but I wanted to give you a visual before we start. We can all use our imaginations there. Pull out this one. Hopefully I will not roll. And here we go. Can you see me? All right. There is always work to be done. Cloth to mend, orders to fill, a household to keep. And when the world is unsettled, there is more of it, not less. You may have heard my name, but a name does not tell a life. Wife, mother, widow, upholsterer, these are the names I have borne. But it is the work of my hands that has kept me. There are many stories told of me, but few are told by me. I was born in the winter, a bitter one. The cold was such that the beasts became frozen where they stood, and provisions were scarce. Little was wasted. I came into the world beneath a well-worn roof on the first day of the year, 1752. I was the 8th child to my mother, Rebecca. She named me Elizabeth. For her sister, ours was a full family, 17 children in all. Though not all were kept to us, some were taken. My father was a carpenter, and when I was a girl, he built us a strong house on our street with many rooms and many hearths. There was always the sound of women at work, children at their lessons, the sound of tools. My cousin, Rebecca, came to live with us as well, and there is never a time that I do not recall her being with me. Such was the childhood into which I was born. Now I was sent to school when I was yet young at a French school not far from our home. There we learned to read, to write a fair hand, and to reckon numbers. And for some of us, we were taught to sew. We were taught plainness in speech, in dress, and in conduct. Now among our people, it was held that there is that of God in every person. And so women were not set aside. They spoke in meeting and their judgment was valued. As such, greater care was put into the instruction of girls. Not that we should be made fine, but that we should be made capable. When I was 1 and 20, my life began in earnest to change. I had been for some time serving at the shop of Mr. Webster in the trade of an upholsterer. It is there that I came to know John Ross. He was a young man, apprenticed as I had been. We worked side by side, and in time, an understanding grew between us. But he was not of my meeting, and my parents, they did not favor this match. But I would not be turned. We into New Jersey, and we were married there. In time, I was brought before a meeting, and I was asked to reconsider, but I would not. I answered plainly that I would go where my husband went. And so, I was no longer in unity with friends. Now we set up a home. It was small, but it was our own. We worked 6 days in the week, and all the while there was talk of taxes, of parliament, of resistance. We had been married a little over 2 years, and he was taken. The manner of his death is not well known, only that he was taken while in service. There is a silence that follows such things. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of absence. And still, the work remained. I was 24, a widow, and in want of employment. News passed through the city that independence would be declared, and with it came need. For how does a ship declare itself at sea? How does a country or an army know its own? By colors, by flags. Flags became a necessity across the city, and I, having very little time to indulge my grief, took up the work in earnest. Now, it should be known that there was not one maker, no grand design handed down for all to see. The work was shared, and through that work, there came stories. There is a story, oft told, of George Washington in the company of Robert Morris and George Ross, who came into my shop with drawing in hand for a flag with stars of 6 points. But stories do grow in the telling. For, with a few simple folds, oh, my needle, and another simple fold, and a careful cut. One cut. A star is formed. This is a useful method when many are to be made. In time, I married again. Joseph Ashburn, he was a mariner, a strong man given to the cause. He sailed as a privateer, and I continued my work. But then came the British, and the city was taken. Many chose to leave, but I chose to stay. In this time, I bore a child, my Zilla, my little bird. But just before her first birthday, she too was taken. And I was expecting another, my Eliza. In time, Joseph did return to sea, and he was captured, taken to Old Mill Prison in England, and I did not know. It is then that John Claypool returned with word. He had been with my husband at the last, in the hour of his death. He was a good companion. and he shared word with me of his death. In time, we did marry. We built a life together. We raised 6 daughters, and he took care to write the name of each one in our family Bible. In time, we also returned to the meeting house of the free Quakers, a people who held liberty of conscience, and this suited me. After a while, John was taken after a long illness, and in time, I grew frail. But when the light was strong, I could still read the scriptures. In time, I was content just to keep the good book near. My grandchildren would often sit beside me and read. These hands had labored long, and in time they grew still. On a winter's night, in the year 1836, I passed quietly from this world. I was laid to rest at the burial ground of the free Quakers. There was no mention of any flag, and that is as it shall be. If I shall be remembered, let it not be for the making of one banner, but for the life behind it. The work of these hands, the keeping on. The revolution was not wrought by one alone. It was carried by many and stitched into being. The woman you have just met lived in the 18th century. And for some time, I had the opportunity to actually work in the 18th century. I was a historic interpreter at Colonial Williamsburg in Virginia. Has anyone been there before? Wonderful place. So every day, if you can picture this, there was not a flag in my basket, but I would tuck my basket under my arm. My buckled shoes would walk up the gravel through the town, up Duke of Gloucester Street. If you've been there, that is the main road that goes through the town. And I would make my way to the Getty House, where I portrayed the role of Nancy Getty. Has anyone been to the Getty House? You may not recall. Yes, wonderful. Well, I was portraying the eldest daughter of James Getty, a silversmith. And I would take visitors on the tour of the house, starting in the silversmith shop, passing through the parlor. In the silversmith shop, we would weigh money, and that was really fun, especially for little ones, to get to feel that money and weigh it. We would then move through the parlor and go to the dining room, where I would recount stories from my life. One of them was about a love letter that was written about me by an 18th century admirer. It was a poem, and it was published in the Virginia Gazette. Visitors loved hearing that story, and then I would play a song on the harpsichord. Now, any musicians in here? You probably are way more talented. I could do one song on the harpsichord, but I have found in life that if you can do one thing pretty well, you can get by. So I would play a song on the harpsichord because Nancy Getty, actually, the poem that was written about her was called When Nancy on the Spinet Plays. So I wanted to make it real for our visitors, and I would play a song. And then I would open the back door. They would head out into the backyard where they would play 18th century games. This is called a bilbo catch, and you can try it after this. I'm not going to probably get it. Oh, I did! Oh my! I've gotten better. I did it probably one. Okay, so they would play games. Also, they had the hoop, the wooden hoops that the kids would hit with. Yes, so they would go and they would join. Can you stand up for one moment? We had junior interpreters right here. She looked like this. And they would help teach children because children love to learn from young people. And all right, very good. So they would go, and then they would, thank you, she'll have more. They would actually go to the foundry out back, and see metal poured. It was fascinating. I could have spent hours in that. But there is something that I learned working at Williamsburg, and that is that people did not always recall the dates that I would tell them. They wouldn't recall the names, but what they would recall is the feel of that money. They would recall the harpsichord, the music. They would recall the stories about the love letter. History becomes real when we get it off the page and we start thinking about it as people. People who lived under flags that look very different that we're going to show you in a moment. People are what make our history meaningful. So that is why historic interpretation is important to me, because I love hearing about the lives of those who have lived at all different parts of history. People like Nancy Getty and people like Betsy Ross. And I want to take a moment. We'll move you right. Yeah, move to the center. Beautiful. All right. Before she was in the history books, before there was a debate about whether she sewed the flag or not, she was a girl living in Philadelphia. She did not know that 250 years later, people are still talking about her. History is about people. And now I'm going to ask Betsy Ross to help me do a little tour of our flags. We're going to start with this one. You can step right here if you want. Beautiful. And she could raise it if you can't see it. This is the flag that is often called the Betsy Ross flag. There are 13 stars on it. And when I think of this, I just told you the story of it, so I won't go through that again, but when I look at it, I think about courage. I think about the courage to begin something new. Then we're going to move to the 15-star flag. This one is often referred to, if anyone knows, our Star-Spangled Banner flag. And you may have heard the story of this. British were bombarding Fort McHenry during the War of 1812. Francis Scott Key, who was an American lawyer, watched from the harbor all night as the battle raged. In the morning, he looked out and our flag was still there, and this inspired the words to our national anthem. Next, we have the 35-star flag. Now, there were 3 flags that flew during the Civil War. This is one of them. This flew when Abraham Lincoln was our president, and he had the very difficult charge of trying to keep the country together in this time. So this flag is a darker chapter in our nation's history, but we want to include it because we want to remember all that our country has been through. And then we come to one that some of you may recognize if you were born before 1960. You can raise your hand or you don't have to. I'm just kidding, but here we go. This is our 48-star flag, okay? This is before Alaska and Hawaii joined the Union. It has 48 stars, and this flag is important because it saw many events of America. It saw 2 world wars. It saw the Great Depression. It was flying when Americans walked on the moon. It was flying during our civil rights movement. This flag saw a lot of our history. Then we're going to come to the flag of today. 50 stars. This flies, thank you, this flies over our communities. It flies over our schools. This flag tells the story of our country and our people, and that story is not over. I see one younger one too. She is younger generation as well, but the next generation are the ones who are going to write that next chapter. So we are going to take that, and we will take a bow with that. Thank you. Wonderful. Put those in there. The century is something that really interests me. I was asked to talk a little bit about the flag, and I just brought a few things to show you in case this is something that you want to dive into more. If anyone has read this book, I will make sure I pass these titles on to Patty, but this is Flag, an American Biography. I've been eating this one up. It talks about the journey of our flag. It's a wonderful, lots of post-it notes in this one for me. You may have questions about Betsy Ross. And because there is a lot of mystery surrounding Betsy Ross, am I right? There's a lot of legend. There are a lot of costumes for young girls on Amazon. And hers did not come. This came from, she is joined, by the way, this is my daughter in real life. And my name really is Betsy. But some people are corporate and they take their daughters to work day. But this is how I do that. But she has joined me today to help out. And so Betsy Ross, there is a lot of mystery surrounding her. Here is the thing. The information that we have, how many of you have family stories? Anybody have family stories? Oh, yeah. Now, how many of you have stories that grow or change in the telling? Most of us, they change. It doesn't make them wrong, does it? No, it does not. Betsy Ross told stories. And the problem comes in, if it is a problem, I don't think it is, but 100 years later, her grandson came up and spoke about her story and said she sewed the first flag, and the family was sworn. They all said this did happen because she told us these stories. She told us stories of the meeting with George Washington. So, the Betsy Ross house, has anyone been there? If you haven't, I have not yet. I do want to go, but I've been studying and meeting with them online. They portray it from Betsy's words, what Betsy said, so because that's what she would have been saying. However, most historians, if you ask them, they will say she did not. The way I have interpreted it is the way that, this is a lovely book if you are interested, Marla Miller. She is a historian. She actually was trying to write another book, and she had needed a little bit of information about Betsy Ross and could not find enough. So she researched, and everything you need to know is in this book. But her take on the Betsy Ross legend is that she was sewing. She was sewing flags. We have record of that. We have record of her sewing bed hangings for Washington, so we do know there was a connection. The rest of it may be from her family legend, but with this book dives into the fact that stories change, stories grow, but it looks at every connection that you have within Betsy Ross. So that's a good one to read, Betsy Ross and the Making of America. And then this is just a beautiful book I bought this week. It shows our lovely flags, and it shows the history as well. This is the Stars and Stripes. So, but Betsy Ross is a fascinating. So you're here, and we do thank you for coming and learning about her today. If you have any questions, I am happy to field those. But what we want to do before we run out of time, we want to teach you to cut a 5-pointed star out of one piece of paper. Would you like that?
Yes.
You don't have to participate, but we would love to teach you that.
Yes.
Let me get, I'm going to have Mira. Okay, can you start handing those out? And we have your scissors here.
Do you guys want to? Yes.
I'm going to put a few scissors on each aisle. There you go. Some scissors. There you go. If you don't get it right, that's okay. There's YouTube. You can learn from you, or you can learn from YouTube. You're good. Give it a shot. And you got it.
Don't do it. This is in the world.
All right. Here we go. She's counting. Good. While she's counting, I worked very hard. There's many costumes you can see for Betsy Ross, but I worked hard. Linen would have been the proper, because it's so hot in Philadelphia, it's a very breathable material. I have my stockings, my buckled shoes. Do you know what this is? No. This is a pocket. And this is historically accurate, as I try to do everything as historically accurate. This would tie around your waist in the 18th century under your petticoats. These are called petticoats here, and they go on the outside. We often think of petticoats underneath, but they go on the outside. So this is a pocket where she could hold her needles or anything in that. All right. Young Betsy is going to help me here. So you stand there. We'll hold it up high. If you don't get it, don't worry. But I'm going to hold it high. I'm going to go very slow for you. Start with your piece of paper like this. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold it hamburger. Hamburger. If it was this way, it would be hot dog. This is hamburger style. I'm giving you new words too. Very good. And then just fold that across. We'll go slow because she's fast at everything. Very athletic. There we go. All right. Good. So we have our hamburger here. Now you see the folded side here. You're going to fold that one more time. One more time. And then just crease it. All right. Very good. All right, let me see.
Wait.
I'm not going. Don't worry, I don't move until everyone's ready. There we go. Crease that. Lovely. Good job. Everybody good? Okay. Now what you're going to do, don't unfold the whole thing. You're just going to unfold that crease you just made. Okay, so you see the crease in the middle. Now you're halfway there, all right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to take this top corner of the folding, bring it to where that crease is at the bottom. Okay? And you're going to crease that, but I'll do it again. You're going to take this top corner. If I'm looking at it and holding it in front of me, it's the top. Let's see, did I get that? Oh, Betsy Ross got backwards. There we go. Okay, good. There we go. Yes, top corner, bring it down to that crease. And crease it across. There we go. How's everybody doing? She can help you. She is excellent. Okay. Good. Some of you are like, move quicker. Right? Give her just a second. Thank you. Yeah. All right, here we go. Now, we're here. What you're going to do next is you're going to take that bottom corner and you're going to align it with that top slanted edge. I know it's you. Why don't you go out here in case they can see you pretty well out here. I'll do it again. So that bottom corner that's at the point, you're going to bring it up. Just align it with that edge. Okay? And I know this is a little tricky. We're almost at the last one. We're almost there. Okay? I brought this bottom that I had lined with the point, and I folded it up to here. Okay? It's okay if yours ends up looking like a swan. It's just for fun. All right. And then, last two folds, I promise. The last thing we're going to do is you're going to fold that, the part that was still here, you're going to fold that up, and it comes over the top. Okay? Oh, you're good. I think you're really good. Okay. It's okay if we've lost you. We'll sit up here after and make sure everything's safe. Now, it's all right. Okay, friends, now, she'll fix that. The next stage is, you see, if you turn it over now, turn it over like that, and the last bit, you're going to fold that last little flap over here, friends. So you have an ice cream cone. You have an ice cream cone. It took us a long time to learn this. If you're not already, you're close. You're good. You're close.
I need help.
Okay, hold on to that.
I messed up somewhere.
Okay, friends, it should look like an ice cream. Very good. Even if we get 1/4 of us doing it, I feel successful. going to make sure that mine is right. You're going to go about, I'd say about a little over halfway down, and you're just going to cut off that tip, okay? And then I'm going to unfold mine and see and cross my fingers that it turned out. It's almost there. Yes, okay. And so then you should have your star, friends. And if you don't, it's okay. If you mess up, so did young Betsy Ross. That's okay. So see if you want to fill it backwards. Sir, let's see that. Open it up. You open it. Let's see. Oh, he's got it, I think. Did anyone have? Did it split? You're very close. You can just take it. Oh, there you have a diamond. Lovely. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh, very close. Just take it. This little girl got hers. And look, show everybody. That's wonderful. Oh my goodness. Lovely. We can definitely tutor you. Good job. I said she goes. That's a yeah. You're very good. I don't know how she did that, but she knows her stuff. Get her to tutor you. What? And you have your other star. Wonderful. And I certainly have fabric if you want to try that too. So thank you, friends, for having us today. This has been a true joy. Appreciate you. Thank you.
You said you have what else if you wanted to try?
I have fabric. I'll let you have a fabric square if you want to make one with that.
Well, how did y'all enjoy Betsy?
Yes.
Well, we got another surprise, being America's 250 that we're celebrating next month, July. We got Ben Franklin will be here for our lecture series on July the 10th. So mark your calendars. We'll be sending out emails with everybody and Facebook. So be sure and come because he has a lot of original artifacts also that he would love, and trust me, he loves to talk. So hopefully we don't have a wedding afterwards. So
Okay, cool.
mark your calendars again, July the 10th.
Who's doing it?
Ben Franklin.
And at noon?
Ben Franklin, trust me.
Where do you live now?
Currently, I live in Keller.
No,
Keller, Texas, yes.